I flere af de store kampscener blev der brugt helt op til 12.000 computerstyrede statister, der hvis man skulle have hyret dem for et par dage, ville have været en dyr affære. I stedet brugte Weta en computerstyret simulator, som kontrollerede hele slaget ud fra de informationer simulatoren blev fodret med. Her er lidt insiderviden om Massive.
It was written expressly for Lord of the Rings, and it was a battle management system for troops. The idea was to give all of the different soldiers an awareness of what was going on around them, so that they could make decisions on screen, and the battle would run itself to some degree without it just looking like the same moves over and over again. And there were hiccups when they were doing early tests and trying to give them the artificial intelligence they needed to perform these actions. Like one of the first scenes was some elves being attacked by Urukai, and the Urukai were programmed to attack anything which wasn't one of them, and they just attacked a digital tree. So all of them just run in and start hacking this tree to pieces, and the elves are like standing there doing nothing, and it's or they'd all run away from each other, or so it was quite amusing to watch some of the rushes. You know, like they composited them into a playing field behind Weta, and you know, you'd see most of them fighting, then you'd see just them running away, and what are they doing? They're running off somewhere, you know. And it's
there was a point too where they were playing with the strengths of the different armies, and they had quite a few laughs at one point. Digital did, where they turn up the strength of the Urukai a lot, and they'd end up just basically walking over the elves. So that was a good thing to be able to work out, you know, to actually play with the strengths and weakness, so you can get an ebb and a flow, and get, you know, a assailant forming within a digital world.
And they're aware of the terrain they're walking on. If the terrain becomes too steep, they'll move away from it. Not only do they have a visual acuity, so they can see what's in front of them, they gave them a hearing as well, so they will react to something going on behind them and turn towards it, and then decide whether they should attack it or not. They also did things like the orcs are quite cowardly, so 2 or 3 orcs will attack an elf, but one by himself probably won't. He'll back off and stay away until some more arrive, and then when there's enough, they'll attack. And so trying to get a fluidity to the battles without having to hands-on do all of the animation and sort of
work at AI for
it will run itself to some degree, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. The bigatures, it's Richard's term, which has become, I think it's a great description when we're talking about miniature sets, of which we built nearly 70 at Weta, and some of them were pretty small, like maybe the size of this sofa or 2 of these sofas together, and some of them were 16 metres across, 5 metres high. Virtually all of the buildings in the films are miniatures. There's very little digital work for the actual buildings. A lot of digital elements within the buildings, like people moving around and fires or water and things.
Digital matte paintings.
Yeah. But so all of Minas Tirith is built at 1/72 scale, so it's enormous. It's 7 metres across and 4 metres high. So it's huge. It's not a miniature, it's a bigature, and it's a term that works well. And to stand next to them, you get a full impression of just the scale of some of these things. Barad-dûr is 5 metres high. So they're big enough that you can get all of the detail in there, so it will read as a real building on screen.
I think that the great thing too about Helm's Deep, that'll come up in 2 Towers, is Helm's Deep was done reasonably early, and Peter decided at the time that he was going to buy a whole lot, like thousands of 1/72nd scale soldiers, so he could actually start planning his battle on a battlefield, basically, around the Helm's Deep model. Which worked out really well. You know, he could actually visually see it. He could get his little blocks of 400 men and start moving them around, and yeah, okay, we'll do it that way.
There are some digital elements of Helm's Deep in film too, where they decided to reshoot something, and it was easier to shoot blue screen and then put digital wall in because the miniature wasn't available. So there's digital Helm's Deep as well. So even if you can pick which bits are which, then, you know, I think you've got sharp eyes. Because it all looks amazing.
Hvad man bør vide om Ringenes Herre. Peter Jackson brugte 7 år til forberedelserne af filmene. 30 skuespillere fik dialekt- og sprogundervisning. 350 forskellige indspilningsmiljøer blev konstrueret inden optagstart. 550 timers behind-the-scenes optagelser er i kassen. I gennemsnit blev der serveret 800 kuverter frokost. 5.000 kubikmeter grøntsager og blomster blev plantet i Hobitrup 1 år inden optagelserne start. 20.602 statister har medvirket. Der blev taget 90.000 stilfotografier. 100 millioner mennesker har læst bogen, siden den udkom i 1954. Sprites er slut for denne gang. På gensyn.